Okay, let's continue with the video. So now I'm going to go through and I have all of my, in my list 3, I have my z values for my x values, and I have my z values for my y values, and now I need to find the product of those. So I'm going to multiply these two lists together, and that's what I wrote down here. So I need to find the product of list 3 times list 4. And when I do that, here is the product. Now this product, this first product, would actually be this first component that I had written down. It's the z-score times the z-score, and then those two multiplied together. In my list, here's the second z-score times its corresponding y-z-score, and that's what the product is. Now, I need to add all of these values up. Now, in order to do that, I could add these all up longhand, but we surely don't want to do that. And so I quit out, second and quit, and now I'm going to clear my screen. And now I go through and I find second and stat, or I want to go to the list. And the list will allow me to go to math, and I want to sum up. And I want to sum up list 5. So there's list 5 added up, and that's what I have written down here. That's the sum of all the products of the z-scores, and then I now need to divide by 9. And that gives me my correlation coefficient. Now this correlation coefficient is quite close to 1. Why is that? Because if I go back and I'm going to do a stat plot, if I turn plot 1 on, and make sure I don't have anything in y equals, no I don't, turn plot 1 on, and I want to have a scatter plot. I want it to be list 1 versus list 2, and I'm going to make my little marks be in little squares. And now if I do zoom number 9, notice that the data does have a pretty strong linear pattern. It's not perfect by any means, and it does seem to have a positive association. It's definitely not a 1. A 1 would mean all of these dots lined up exactly on a line, but it is about a 0.94. Now, the more graphs you see, the better you'll be able to predict what type of a correlation coefficient. Now, if I had a negative association, that would mean that the graph would be having a pattern that would have a slope that would look like a negative type association. Okay, so I have written down we have a positive association between year and the number of fatalities, and the data does appear to be quite linear. So if I asked you to describe what this means the correlation coefficient is describing how well the data fits a linear pattern, and it describes two things about that linear pattern: how strongly it is associated to a linear pattern and what the direction of the association is. And because it's positive, we know that as year increases, the fatalities increase. Because it's very close to 1, we know it's quite close to a linear pattern. And I'll leave you to read these little facts on your own. And that's all for this video. Sorry about having to make it 2. I touched my computer and it turned it off. So, oh well. Time to practice.